A few days ago, we talked about icons on the AliExpress summer sale. Today, we're talking about watches that really nobody else is talking about, and that's going to change today. Hey, there you are, and welcome to My Dude Watch. My name is Jason, and today we are talking about 10 hidden gems during the AliExpress summer sale. These are watches that you need to know about, and I bet there are some you've never even heard of. So you need to watch this. This is going to be fun. You know the deal. Grab a snack, pull up a chair, and let's talk watches. And before we jump in, let's do a really quick wrist check. Today I am wearing the Skyrim Wrist Bruce Wayne mod, a watch that blends modern sophistication with a subtle Dark Knight inspired aesthetic. If you like to learn more about it, I'll leave a link in the description. Just go there and check it out. Now, before we get into this list of 10, let me show you a watch that almost made the cut. This is an honorable mention. This is the Voyage B8009G, and honestly, on another day, it probably would have found its way onto this list. Featuring the Miyota 8217 automatic movement, 50 meters of water resistance, and styling that stands out from the crowd. This is one of those pieces that quietly flies under the radar, why everyone is focused on the bigger names. If you're looking for something a little bit different during this summer sale, this is one that definitely is worth a closer look. All right, let's uncover some hidden gems. And we are kicking off with a watch from a company called Feelnever. Now, trust me, I didn't name it, but I know you guys are going to give me a hard time about it. In fact, one thing you're going to notice throughout today's list is some of these brands may have chosen questionable names, but they've built some surprisingly good watches, or they wouldn't be on this list. This is the Feelnever FN1802, and it is a big, bold, unapologetically masculine dive watch, and it brings an impressive 500 meters of water resistance to the table. Now, let's be honest, very few of us actually need 500 meters of water resistance, but it does not hurt to have it. But what really caught my attention is that this watch doesn't feel like it's trying to be something else. It has its own personality, its own presence, and a rugged tool watch aesthetic, and it's ready for just about anything you can throw at it. Now, it's around $139 during this summer sale. It's one of those watches that quietly delivers a lot more than most collectors would expect. And that's exactly what this video is all about. Well, apparently we're going to keep this horrendous name theme alive because our next hidden gem comes from a brand called WishDoIt. In fact, I'm going to show you how much I like this watch because I'm willing to include it on today's list, despite the fact that it makes me cringe every time I say it. This is the WSD9027, and it's one of those rare watches that immediately grabs your attention. The faceted dial gives it a unique look that stands out from the sea of divers flooding the market, and the PT 5000 movement brings a high-beat mechanical experience that many collectors actively seek out. What I appreciate most about this watch, it's doing its own thing. It isn't simply another homage chasing a familiar design. Instead, it offers a distinctive personality and a level of visual interest that makes you stop and take a second look. And honestly, if this exact watch had a different name on the dial, I think more collectors would be talking about it. Our next hidden gem is the Toujours Prêt Dirty Dozen, and this is exactly the kind of watch I was hoping to find when putting this list together. Inspired by the legendary Dirty Dozen military watches issued during World War II, this piece captures the spirit of those original watches remarkably well. From the sterile dial to the small seconds display to the bead-blasted case and hand-wound movement, everything about it feels purposeful. This isn't a watch for everyone, and that's exactly why it's on today's list. But if you appreciate military history, vintage design, and watches that genuinely have character, the Toujours Prêt Dirty Dozen deserves far more attention than it's currently receiving. Now, this next watch may be the biggest surprise of the entire video. When most collectors hear the word tourbillon, they think of luxury watch boutiques, five-figure price tags, and watches most of us will never own. AliExpress is probably the last place that comes to mind. And yet here we are. This is the Aesop 7049 tourbillon, and regardless of what you think about the brand, the fact that tourbillon can be purchased at this price is pretty remarkable. For generations, the tourbillon has been considered one of the watchmaking's most prestigious complications, a mechanism originally developed to help improve accuracy by counteracting the effects of gravity. Now, we all know this isn't competing with Swiss tourbillons costing tens of thousands of dollars, and that's not the point. The point is that watches like this allow everyday collectors to experience one of horology's most famous complications without taking out a second mortgage. And in the skeletonized design, sapphire crystal, and hand-wound movement, you've got a watch that delivers an experience most people never expected to find while browsing the AliExpress summer sale. Now, this next watch comes from a brand that we all know, but this particular model is largely forgotten about. This is the Martin SN034, and while collectors often focus on models like the SN004, the 0116, and some of San Martin's newer releases, the SN034 quietly sits in the background without getting nearly the attention it deserves. What I like about this watch is that it feels different from much of the modern San Martin catalog. It has a classic pilot watch aesthetic, excellent proportions, and the kind of clean, legible dial design that makes it incredibly easy to wear day after day. There's nothing flashy here, and honestly, that's part of the appeal. The finishing is exactly what we've come to expect from San Martin, which means you're getting a lot of watch for the money. And in an automatic movement, solid overall execution, you've got a watch that deserves far more attention than it's currently getting. And that's really why it's on today's list, not because it's the most famous San Martin, not because it's the newest San Martin, but because it's one of those watches that seems to have slipped through the cracks. Before we move on to the second half of this video, I want to say thank you for spending a few minutes with us today. I know there's a whole lot of watch channels out there, and the fact that you decided to stay with us for just a little while means a lot to me. Thank you. Next up is a watch from a company called Time Token, and if you've never heard of them before, don't worry, you're not alone. This is the Time Token T454 BGS, and what immediately grabbed my attention was the forged carbon dial. Not carbon fiber, not a printed pattern, but forged carbon, a material that gives every watch its own unique appearance. And in a sapphire crystal and a comfortable 40mm case size, you've got a watch that feels modern, lightweight, and genuinely different from most of what you'll find during the summer sale. While collectors are busy discussing the usual suspects, watches like this tend to fly completely under the radar, and that's exactly why Time Token earned a spot on today's Hidden Gems list. Next up is a watch from a brand that many of you already know, but this particular model doesn't seem to get nearly the attention it deserves. This is the Watchdives WD5513P, and while collectors often talk about some of the brand's more popular releases, this one quietly flies under the radar. Featuring a PT 5000 movement, a clean vintage-inspired dive watch design, it delivers the kind of enthusiast-focused experience that many collectors are looking for. Now, I really like how simple it is because it doesn't rely on flashy colors, gimmicks, or trends. Instead, it focuses on solid execution, good proportions, and the kind of timeless design that tends to age very well. Sometimes the hidden gems aren't the watches from obscure brands. Sometimes they're the watches hiding in plain sight within brands we already know. And for me, the WD5513P is exactly that kind of watch. And this one right here is from a brand that many collectors have heard of, but surprisingly few have actually experienced. This is the Farasute 5502A, and if there's one thing that immediately stands out, it's the level of finishing you get. Farasute has quietly built a reputation among enthusiasts for producing watches that often feel more expensive than the price tag would suggest, and this watch is a perfect example. This watch doesn't scream for attention. Instead, it relies on thoughtful design, quality execution, and the kind of details that reveal themselves the longer you spend time with the watch. This is a piece that rewards a closer look. While many buyers are focused on bigger names during the sale, Farasute continues to sit just outside of the spotlight. And honestly, that's a shame because watches like this one prove there are some incredible discoveries waiting for collectors willing to look just beyond the usual suspects. And we've made it to number 9 on our Hidden Gems list. This is the WM231, and if there was ever a watch on today's list that could stop a scroll with nothing more than the dial, this might be it. The mother-of-pearl mosaic dial creates an incredible play of light and color that changes depending on the angle and lighting conditions. What's especially impressive is that WM didn't simply rely on a dial to carry the entire watch. The overall design is cohesive, it's modern and well thought out, allowing that stunning centerpiece to shine without becoming overwhelming. The truth is, most collectors are so busy looking at the usual AliExpress brands that watches like this rarely get the attention. And that's unfortunate because the WM231 offers something genuinely different in a market where many watches can still start to feel a little too familiar. And if you're looking for a watch with personality, originality, and one of the most interesting dials you'll find during this summer sale, check out the WM231. And finally, at number 10, this is the least hidden watch on today's list, but I couldn't leave it off. The reality is most collectors still haven't experienced a jump hour watch, and the R088 remains one of the most affordable and enjoyable watches to do exactly that. And if you've never experienced a jump hour watch before, this is one of the easiest ways to discover what makes them so interesting. Instead of displaying the hour in traditional hand, the hour appears through a window and instantly jumps to the next number at the top of the hour. I love the R088. It just reminds me of one of those watches that can still be fun. It's different, it's interesting, and it's the kind of watch that immediately starts conversations. And truthfully, that's exactly what a hidden gem should be. Unique, overlooked, and deserving far more attention than it's currently getting. The Pierre Paulin R088 is all of those things, and that's why it earned a spot on today's list. Well, there you go, 10 hidden gems, an honorable mention, and a wrist check. We'll put links in the description just in case you want to go there, check them out, and see if they're right for you. Just remember, if you decide to make a purchase, My Dude Watch may get a small commission, but you don't pay more. And just remember, some of the best watches sit just outside of the spotlight. Hey, you made it to the end of another video. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed what you saw today, please take the time to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It'll only take you a second, but it really does help. All right, I checked the time and it is time to wrap it up. My name is Jason with My Dude Watch. We'll do it all again next time, but wait, don't forget, dudes can't be late.
Dudes can't be late.